We're here now to talk about meningitis. We are glad to have you here with us this morning to give light to the different aspects of this disease and to help separate myths from facts when it comes to meningitis. No? In the era of fake news, dapat siguro fake or fact. No? So ngayon po yun ang ating gagawin, i-separate ang fake sa fact. Okay? For everyone's information, this morning session is interactive. No? So we encourage you, all of you, to participate. You may join our discussion through our online platform Slido. I'm sure you're familiar with this. Simply scan the QR code, flash, using your mobile devices, which will take you to our browser-based platform. We have prepared a few survey questions for you, our audience, for all of us to get a feel of how much we know about meningitis and what we need to clarify so that we may better address the burden of this infectious disease. So, to begin, let's first understand what meningitis is. I would like to ask Dr. Janet, can you help us explain what meningitis is and why everyone, all of us, should be aware of it?
Thank you, Dr. Edwin. So, maayong buntag, mga higala. So, I'm Dr. Janet, and the question is, what is meningitis? Maybe first, you have to remember, diba, ang brain is literally the heart of the body, sitting on top, no? So, it's a very important organ, and it has many protection, including what we call the meninges, which is a protective covering. So pag yan nag-infect, that's when you get meningitis. It's not easily infected kasi nga maraming protection. So kung pumasok ng meningitis, that means medyo delikado talaga. It has the microbe has invaded a lot of barriers to cause the meningitis. So this is a life-threatening condition and it requires urgent medical attention, as you've seen in the video early on, no? So, another infection is sepsis. Pag sinabi natin sepsis, the infection naman is coursing through the bloodstream. It's a blood infection. It is also a life-threatening condition. So, both of them would warrant immediate attention and treatment. Now, meningitis and sepsis can coexist in the same patient. Ang ano pa dyan is sometimes the symptoms, the signs and symptoms are very similar, no? So, it is important that we are able to recognize. Balikan natin si Mami Marjorie. Ano ba yung na pinagdaanan or na-experience ng baby ninyo?
Nung nagkasakit po siya, mabilis po talaga yung pangyayari doon. Nilagnat lang po siya, tapos yun po, nilagnat, tapos sipon-sipon po, tapos yun po, hindi po namin alam na may infection na po pala sa utak at sa dugo po. Yun nga po yung sabi na invasive meningococcal disease po.
Diba ang bilis? If you review the video, parang fever and then within the hour, nagkumbulso pa siya, no? And then wala pang 24 hours, lumabas na yung rash. So, ang bilis talaga, ang invasive meningococcal disease or meningococcal meningitis is just one of many types of meningitis. Malas lang talaga kasi yun yung nakuha ng anak niya. So, it is important to know the possible presentations of this serious illness. And that's why we are here today, no? We want to increase the awareness, and you are part of the solution to spread the awareness to the rest of the Philippines. So we have this what we call the meningitis symptom checker. Available naman to online, and you can also scan the QR code. Kasi very simple siya, no? So if you look here, sabi niya, meningitis and sepsis can be deadly. Know the symptoms so you can save someone's life. And if you look at the Roletta, you have there the different symptoms. Now, for example, meningitis, confused, delirious. We will see that in the bigger children. Baka nalilito sila. Siyempre may lagnat, no? Kasi infection. Pareho yan, pwede mong makita sa sepsis and meningitis. Tapos, pwedeng mabilis ang paghinga, no? Which can be seen in sepsis. In bigger children, we will see headaches, sakit ang ulo, masakit ang leeg, kasi naiirita na nga yung meninges, yung protection ng brain. Yung protection na yan, yung covering na sinasabi natin, it covers not just the brain, pababa yan, papunta sa spinal cord. Kaya naiirita siya kasi namamaga. In younger children, babies, yan, tulog ng tulog, very sleepy, difficult to wake up, tapos pwede rin silang, ayun, rashes, yung nakita natin sa kay Kim, no? Yung anak ni Ma'am Marjorie. And then may photosensitivity. So there are other symptoms. Ang isa pang very common, yung convulsion na tinatawag, no? Nag-seizure na ang bata. Hindi lang pala dahil sa lagnat. Yan yung common. Pero pag winnercup na, pag nakikita na natin na ay naku, may meningitis pala. So, important talaga is recognizing the symptoms. So as lay people, dapat pag meron tayong mga nakikitang ganito, dalhin na natin agad sa hospital or sa doktor para we can work up or ma-examine siya at ma-check kung kailangan ba siyang i-admit o simpleng kaso lang ba ito. So, who are at risk? Okay? Ang babies, no, children less than 5 years old are at risk. Actually, everyone is at risk, but more at risk ang mga bata. And then the teenagers and those who are extremes of age, the young and the old. Wala pa ako dun sa super old. Yan yung mga extremes, no? In fact, meningitis, in 40% of meningitis, ang mga pasyenteng natatamaan yung less than 5 years old. So yung mga mahina ang immune system, kasi play of factors yan why you get an infection. It's the burden of the infection, marami bang load ng infection, andyan din yung immune system. Yung immune system, di ba, sa bata, mas mahina pa talaga, developing pa siya. And then, yun na.
Thank you very much, Dr. Janet.
Sorry,
No? I think ang nakuha kong points doon is yung invasive meningococcal disease, of which meningitis is an example, nangyayari po sa mga batang relatively well at healthy, no? At biglaan, no? Yung mga signs and symptoms po, ang hirap i-distinguish, no? Sabi ni Mami Marge, ubosipon, lagnat, no? Na napaka-common, no? Sa iba't ibang mga sakit, no? And finally, yung convulsion na may lagnat, hindi po lahat yun benign. Kasi usually sinasabi natin na convulsion dahil sa lagnat. Pero ito, na convulsion at may lagnat, pero napakabilis ng course ng sakit, no? At talagang life-threatening at nagkaroon ng long-term complications. Now, going back to the points raised by Dr. Janet, nabanggit po ninyo that children under 5 account for nearly 40% of meningitis deaths worldwide. So, bakit po kaya itong mga ganitong edad ang vulnerable, no, sa ganitong sakit at sa komplikasyon po ng meningitis?
So, very good question. If you look at the first 1,000 days in a person, it's the first 2-3 years of life, very critical period of development yan. So when we are born, ito na yung number of brain cells natin. But the brain continues to develop, di ba? So kaya yung actually the first 5 years very critical kasi nga nag-grow pa si brain, nagde-develop pa, nagko-connect pa yung mga brain cells ninyo. Kaya if something happens like an insult of infection, it can be devastating. Aside from that, even the immune system is undergoing development pa. Kaya, this is really the vulnerable population. So, Ma'am Marjorie, ilang taon na si Kim noon?
9 months old po.
9 months, di ba? Very, very critical time. So, the baby's defense is really immature. Their immune system isn't fully developed. Kaya when there's a life-threatening or serious infection that comes in, there's a risk of mortality or dying, and if they survive, there's also a very high risk of having complications of the disease, no? Yung mga long-term complications natin. Because like I said, di ba, the brain is still developing. And then pwedeng maapektuhan yung development dahil nga nagkaroon ng sakit.